Hearings on appeals filed with the Election Commission against the cancellation of nomination papers has begun. A total of 645 appeals will be disposed of. The Election Commission today approved a total of 52 appeals on the first day of hearings against returning officers, decisions over the submission of nomination papers. Of the 70 appeals heard today, 15 were rejected, while 3 were kept pending. Candidates and their representatives appeared before the EC to challenge decisions on the acceptance or rejection of nomination papers at the hearings, held from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the EC auditorium in the capital's Agargaon area. The Chief Election Commissioner, 4 election commissioners, the EC's senior secretary and other concerned officials took part in the hearings. Hearings on these appeals will continue until January 18. Meanwhile, the last date for withdrawal of candidature is January 20. Returning officers will publish the final list of candidates and allocate electoral symbols on January 21. Election campaigning will begin on January 22 and voting will be held on February 12. A mock postal ballot counting exercise was held today through the counting of 1,200 postal ballots. The mock postal ballot counting took place today at the Election Training Institute in Agargaon. Salim Ahmed Khan, team leader of the OCV SDI project, said that there will be one constituency-based postal ballot polling center at the office of each returning officer. Each center will have one presiding officer along with the required number of polling officers. He said the mock exercise was organized to gain practical experience on the amount of manpower required for postal ballot counting and the realistic technical preparations needed for the process. Director General of the Election Training Institute, Mohammad Hassanuzzaman, Director of Public Relations Ruhul Amin Mullik, and other concerned officials were present at the event. BNP Chairman Tariq Rahman has said differences of opinion should not escalate to the level of conflicts. He said the nation has seen the consequences of vengeance or retaliation on August 5, 2024. Even if there are differences of opinion, they must be reduced through discussion. Differences should not escalate to the level of conflict. Tariq Rahman made the remarks today during an exchange of views with editors and journalists from national-level media outlets of the country at the Grand Ballroom of Hotel Sheraton in Bonani in the capital. He said, "We are facing tough challenges. The democratic process must be kept alive at all costs. We have problems, but we do not want to go back to the time before August 5, 2024. Therefore, putting aside differences, everyone must work together." Power, Energy and Mineral Resources Advisor Muhammad Fawzul Kabir Khan has expressed optimism that the referendum and the 13th national election will turn into a festive occasion. He said people will take part in the voting on election day in a celebratory atmosphere, similar to Eid or Puja, freely and without fear, and will be able to choose their preferred candidates without any obstruction. The advisor made the remarks on Friday while addressing a courtyard meeting on voter motivation and public awareness ahead of the referendum and the national election at Dholkhorpara of Ashkarpur Union under Dinajpur Shodor Upazila. Speaking about the referendum, Muhammad Fawzul Kabir Khan said this referendum will be aimed at reforms through which a new Bangladesh of the future will be built. He also said that unlike in the past, no one will get the opportunity to prevent people from casting their votes or intimidate them. The country's political arena as well as discussions among the general public are now centered on the referendum and the parliamentary election. As the nation moves forward on the path of democracy, people are expecting a corruption-free country where everyone enjoys the right to vote and freedom of expression. People hope that a beautiful and peaceful country will emerge through this process. Some people view the referendum as a direct means of knowing public opinion, while while others consider the parliamentary election as the legitimate way to run the country. Voters said that the referendum has created an opportunity for people to directly express their views on important national decisions. At the same time, expectations surrounding the election remain high, where people are hoping for a free, fair, and participatory vote. In particular, the younger generation sees both the referendum and the election as opportunities to shape the future, expressing a desire for decisions to come directly from the people. On the other hand, female voters have clear expectations of ensuring a safe environment, freedom of expression, and guaranteed participation. According to voters, the successful implementation of both the referendum and the election will depend on political goodwill, administrative neutrality, and public trust. National Security Advisor Dr. Khalilur Rahman requested Alison Hooker, U.S. Under-Secretary of State for Political Affairs, to ease travel of Bangladeshi businessmen to U.S. in the context of the recent visa bond move, as he met her at the State Department in Washington, D.C. on Friday. Dr. Khalilur Rahman also requested, if possible, to exempt B1 short-term business visa for Bangladeshi businessmen from the visa bond. According to a press release of the Chief Advisor's press wing, in response, Hooker recognized the matter and assured that the U.S. government will positively consider the step. She also indicated that if the overstay by the tourists declines substantially in future, the U.S. might review the bond requirements that have been put in place. Hooker also expressed deep appreciation for the cooperation of Bangladesh to the return of undocumented Bangladeshis. During the meetings, they also discussed upcoming elections in Bangladesh, economic and trade relations, Rohingya issue, and regional matters. In the meeting, Dr. Rahman briefed Hooker about the preparations and arrangements for the upcoming general elections and expressed appreciation for the support of the U.S. to the interim government during its tenure, including for the elections. Hooker responded that the U.S. continues its strong support for the democratic transition in Bangladesh and looks forward to a free and fair elections in February. Dr. Khalilur Rahman underscored the prospects of increased trade between the two countries following substantially enhanced Bangladeshi import of American farm products. Now, international news. United States President Donald Trump says Iran is in big trouble and again warned he could order military strikes as videos showed anti-government protests raging across the country and authorities blacked out the internet to restrain growing unrest. Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago, Trump said on Friday. Trump, who bombed Iran in June and warned Tehran last week the U.S. could come to the protesters' aid, issued another warning saying, "You better not start shooting because we will start shooting too." Rights groups have documented dozens of deaths of protesters in nearly 2 weeks, and with Iranian state TV showing clashes and fires, the semi-official Tasnim news agency reported that several police officers had been killed overnight. "I just hope the protesters in Iran are going to be safe because that's a very dangerous place right now," Trump added. In an address broadcast on Iranian state TV earlier on Friday, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei called for unity in the face of terrorist actions as mass protests continue to rock the country. Khamenei warned against the protests, which the authorities has framed as a plot by foreign enemies, primarily the U.S., and reiterated a threat that authorities will crack down on the unrest. Khamenei accused the protesters of acting on behalf of President Trump, saying rioters were attacking public property and warning that would not tolerate people acting as mercenaries for foreigners. He accused Trump of having hands stained with the blood of Iranians. At least 62 people have been killed, including 14 security personnel and 48 protesters days since demonstration began on December 28, according to the human rights activists news agency HRANA, an overseas-based Iranian rights group. While President Masoud Pezeshkian has called for restraint and for the state to listen to genuine grievances, other voices have warned that the authorities will show no leniency, noting that the protests have received support from foreign foes. Chinese, Russian, and Iranian warships have arrived in South African waters for a week of naval drills as geopolitical tensions run high over the United States military intervention in Venezuela and its seizures of several oil tankers. China's defense ministry said in a statement on Friday that the exercises set to kick off with an opening ceremony on Saturday are joint operations to safeguard vital shipping lanes and economic activities. Strikes on maritime targets and counter-terrorism rescues will be part of the drills, it said. Chinese, Russian, and Iranian ships were seen moving into and out of the harbor that serves South Africa's top naval base in Simonstown, south of Cape Town, where the Indian Ocean meets the Atlantic Ocean. It was not immediately clear if other countries from the BRICS group, which also includes Brazil, India, and the United Arab Emirates, among others, would take part in the drills. A spokesperson for the South African Armed Forces said that wasn't yet able to confirm all the countries participating in the drills, which are due to run until next Friday. South Africa's Defense Force said the event will allow the navies to exchange best practices and improve joint operational capabilities, which contributes to the safety of shipping routes and overall regional maritime stability.